land that is there today, how many years has it stayed? 2 years. And you could see where we are. Look at the turn of things in 2 years. That means that you can change things in 2 years. If I was there in 2 years, Charles, you would have seen considerable change. In critical areas, I would have tackled corruption head on. I would have reduced cost of governance. And you will see it. People will feel it. And those monies invested in critical areas. Our primary health care today, I told you, 70% are not functional. And we spent over 35 billion in conference center. Which conference? Who is coming for the conference? You need to invest your money properly. As you have been seeing borrowed money invested in critical area. We, a country in Bangladesh, with 148,000 square kilometers of land, is producing about 60 million metric tons of rice. And us, with over 6 times that size of land, cannot do 10% of that. You talked about devaluation of Naira. There's nothing wrong in devaluation. I would have done something. I would have allowed the Naira to float. But I would have done it in an organized manner. There will be productivity. The idea of devaluing your currency, allowing it to float, to be cheaper, is that you have productivity so you can export, so people can come and buy. But when you don't have productivity and you devalue your currency, it's double whammy because you have nothing to sell. So I would have injected money in productivity. Today, nobody is producing anything. Somebody told me a few days ago, said, oh, they've removed there's no more tax or this, or some of the manufacturing inputs and everything. And I said, that's not. How can you manufacture? How can you do business when your interest rate is over 40%? One of the biggest costs of manufacturing today, cost of production today, is interest rate. Just nobody borrows money at over 40% to do a business that is shared. You can only borrow, it's only government that is borrowing that amount of money at that cost. So you need to do the right things, and you can do it.
Are you going to stick with the Labour Party, given the disarray that's in the party?
The disarray is caused by government.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter who calls.
No, that's what I'm saying you. Yes.
Are you going to stick
I'm in Labour Party.
And are you going to stick with the Labour?
Well, I'm there because I'm there. It's not something I can tell you now. I'm there today. And as time go on, Charles, if it changes, I'll tell you. But I'm a member of Labour Party. And these are one of the things I said I will do. I will make sure that parties work. I will protect democracy and make it work.
Some would say Labour Party isn't working under you.
No, it has nothing to do under me. I'm not the one running the party. Charles, I've been involved in all this. If government today is democratic and they want democracy to thrive, all these things will work.
Right.
Put me anywhere.
So you can only make the change if you're president.
I've told you, Charles, I saw this we had a problem under Yaradua, for example, in my party. He told it in front of me, he told the INEC chief, I don't want all these party issues in front of me. I want it to happen, but I don't want all this. So you have to say you're democratic, practice it, believe in it, whether it favors you or not. Because that's what you want. You want to build a better, decent society that is organized. Whatever realignments, whatever coming together, we must discuss the future of this country. We're not just going to, I'm not going to be part of just wrestling power for power's sake. No. I want to know that we're going to do this in order to be able to invest in education, invest in health, invest in pulling our people out of poverty. How can a country with this size of uncultivated land not be able to feed itself? Somebody who makes dollar at 300 and something, 400, is now 1,005. Charles is done fantastic. Same in fuel, same in everything, same in unemployment, everywhere, in terms of democracy, in terms of everything, is on the sliding side. And that is doing well, because that's what he promised. When you talk about improvement, there are not things you say. There are things people feel. There are things people see. There are things that, it's just like when you talk about, I've listened to people say jobs are being created. Where are the jobs? If you talk about job creation anywhere in the world, you see the figure. If you talk about improvement in education, you see it. Improvement in health, improvement in this. If you say the government is now doing the right thing, they're democratic, they this, you will see it. You just mentioned River State. So where is it? So we can see it. It's not a question of going to say, oh, investors are coming back. Where are the investors? Where are they investing? Companies are closing down. They're leaving. Local companies, manufacturing is going south. So where is it? Nigerians are not saying it. I am one politician that moves around in Nigeria. And I know the feeling of the people.
Yeah, but what about prices in the market? I mean, there have been some, maybe not enormous reductions, but there have been some significant reductions, even in fuel, for example, petrol prices. I mean,
where did we start?
They've fluctuated
Charles,
a little, but they've come down.
Charles, where did we start? We started at about 200 to over 1,000, and now it's slightly below 1,000. You have to look at where we started. You didn't just say, oh, it's coming down. No, where did we start? What has changed? Consider the income of the average Nigerian, those who are fortunate to have a job. What it now tells them if they're buying fuel. Let's take fuel subsidy, which they say there's huge savings. Where is the savings being challenged? If you are making a savings, you said, I want to save this money to be able to invest where? You have to invest in critical areas of development. And those critical areas of development are education, health, and pulling people out of poverty. Are we investing in it? This country has universal basic education. And we have over 20 million children out of school. That is the critical area. It is the basic education that is the critical area. We're not doing anything in it. Just today, I visited an IDP camp. There's over 40,000 people in IDP camps around Abuja. I'm not talking outside Abuja. The one I visited is in Abuja. With over 4,000, they don't have a primary health care.
4,000 or 40,000?
Over 4,000.
Right.
40,000 around Abuja. But 4,000 in this particular facility.
Right, okay.
They don't have a primary health care. They don't have a primary school. They used to have a primary school, which was there by UNICEF. It's closed down for the past 3 years. The kids are there. There's no primary school. There's no health care. So if you don't have that in Abuja, where do you have it? Where? And this is the one you said is free. Free and compulsory. So where are you investing the money? You have said, I'm removing this. You have to sacrifice. You have to suffer. Where are you investing it? It has to be clear. It has to be verifiable. It has to be visible. People have to see it. They have to feel it. What I have said is that I maintain there's no democracy in Nigeria today. Nigeria today is not a democratic country. Let's stop telling ourselves lies. If you look at all the tenets, look at all the yardstick of measuring democracy, it doesn't exist here. Simple definition, democracy is government of the people, by the people, for the people. Today, the government we have is not of the people. It's not by the people because the people didn't vote. It wasn't their votes. I'm not just talking about presidency. Across the line, look at what happened in Edo. Can you call that democracy? It is not vote of the people. And it's not for the people. I've just told you that I went to an IDP camp where we have thousands of people, no primary health care. They were begging me to have one nurse, which I said I must make sure I bring. They don't even have primary school, which again I told them I will make sure it happens. So what are you doing? For a country that just spent 21 billion naira to renovate a house for the vice president, which is not, it hasn't packed in, is not living there. And you cannot even have a primary school for kids who are going to be leaders of Nigeria tomorrow. For people who pass through the same process, to not deny these kids this opportunity today. So it is not a democratic country. So it's not for the people. You can't have a democracy without a functional and effective legislature, which you know we don't have today. You can't have a democracy without, again, an independent judiciary that fights for the common person. I can go on and on. In a democracy, it is clear. There's guidelines. Even when you set for people vying for election, like in Nigerian case, you have to talk about people must be qualified, they must have primary school, secondary school, university, and must attain certain age. Charles, that is not happening today. People are with unverified, forged certificates all over the place, criminal records and everything, and they're in charge. So you cannot say that. It is, yes, maybe we're striving to be a democratic country, but the way we are today is not. Look at what happened in the rivers that you mentioned. Can you call that democracy? There's no freedom of speech. And you know that yourself. And I can tell you, and there's so many people who are being detained in one place or the other because they made one statement. When you go for an exam and you score 10%, it's a fail. I'm just giving you the real measure of democracy. We failed in all of them. So it doesn't exist. You know where we're headed. It will get worse. And when it gets worse, we're now going to threaten to a state of nature, of anarchy, where anybody can do anything you want. Everything is collapsing. Even when the people who are supposed to be seeing it are not seeing it. But you can see the negative impact in all the critical areas, even the education you mentioned, when you said people are being given scholarship to go to school.
Student loans.
With student loans. What is happening in our universities, Charles? Our universities now are politicized, where appointments for management of universities are now political. You now fail local government election, you are appointed on your university board, university governing board, where vice chancellors are even have been appointed without merits and everything. And the consequences that you see universities now giving honorary degree to all manner of character of people. It is not about me. I'm one with the people. They can say anything they like. You know, when you are in government, you claim anything. But I deal with the reality. The reality is that things are headed south. Go and check all indices of development anywhere. I've told you what is improving. Is our literacy level improving? Is our health condition improving? Even them that are in government don't even go to hospitals here. So that shows that it's not even improving. The same thing goes. Are people being pulled out of poverty? There's still hunger everywhere. Is the agricultural produce increasing? Is manufacturing increasing? No. So where is it? The first thing you can say that you have a government is security of life and property. Rule of law. These are intangible assets that you cannot ignore. It is critical. People go where there's law and order. Nobody goes where there's chaos. Where do you see the rule of law? You are here. You don't need to. I don't need anybody to tell you. You see it every day. You cannot take the action that has been taken in Rivers State for what happened. There's a clear path to dealing with that issue. Rivers State, for the past 2 years, have become ungovernable for obvious political reasons and interests, which shouldn't be in a democratic environment. It's clear, it shouldn't be. I have been a governor, and I have left government, had issue with the person who would have replaced me, with my successor. But for God's sake, the state is far more important than anybody. We have a governor who have been sworn in as the governor. He should be allowed to govern. What happened in Rivers State is very unfortunate and is impacting very negatively to the little or remaining inkling or democratic space we had. He eroded a lot from there. So, as for intimidating the governors for 2027, it shouldn't be. The governors are going to seek re-election. You're going to seek re-election. You're going to seek re-election based on what you've been able to do, your performance. Or Nigerians, the governors just have one vote. It is because of what I told you that it is not a democratic country that you are trying to intimidate the governors. It's because it's not a democratic setting. Very unfortunate. That's why I said there's no functional legislature. So before I go into the opposition, there were, even in the House of Representatives, a particular Labour member did everything possible to ensure that the right thing was done by ensuring that it is not a voice vote, that is a vote that must be properly recorded. Because you said no opposition, at least from Labour, at least, and there were others like that that were shouted down. Even at the Senate, there were voices like that, like former governor of Bayelsa State, former governor of Sokoto State. There were voices. The Nigerian political space was designed not to have opposition. Opposition doesn't exist here, Charles. If you want to look at where opposition exists, you compare us with other countries with similar trajectory. People have called me and said, look at what the oppositions are doing in South Africa. Look at what the oppositions are doing in other similar countries. But let's just use South Africa, which is, of course, the biggest economy in Africa today. And what they are doing, they have a presidential system, but have been able to have a system that allows opposition to exist in their system. You cannot have opposition that is effective unless you have proportional representation in the legislature. If you don't have it, you're wasting your time. If you look at South Africa today, as it is, just take their election in 2019, ANC won 57.7% of the vote. They had 230 members. 2019, they had 40%. They had 160 members. While Democratic Alliance in 2019 had 20%, they had 80 people. In 2024, they had 21 plus, almost 22, they had 87 members. And that is the same thing for all other parties. And their leader is a member of that parliament. And you cannot cross from one party to the other, as you can do in Nigeria, without consequences. Once you cross from one party to the other, you lose your seat. Just even in the environment you know very well, the UK, you cannot have somebody from one party cross over to the other party without any consequence, without anything, and all that. So you have a system that works, and nobody's going to lure your member using contract, using this and all that, as is happening here. So it's a difficult thing. That's why we are clamoring that we must now change this constitution. We must now build a viable system. People have asked me, Peter, what are you going to do if you were there? I will make sure that this country is democratic. I will make sure that the opposition thrives by ensuring that I direct whoever and put all my own resources in terms of office to ensure that parties function the way they should. Today, they don't do that. You just have people doing all sorts of things in terms of, as I said, there's no democracy here. We need to fix it. Yar'Adua started doing it. He was sworn in here as a president, and he said, I will not allow the process through which I came to office to continue. I was a beneficiary of it, Charles. I had a free and fair second-term election. And that's what it should be. But instead of now having it growing the way you think things will be, we've taken 300 degrees reverse. I'm one person who is very reluctant at talking about 2027. I'll just probably gloss over it. Because we have a critical situation, Charles, where we're not addressing it. We have a country where our debt in 2015 is between 15 and 17 trillion. Now we have a country with a debt of 150 to 170 trillion. A country where our cost of debt servicing is now higher than our critical areas of budget for critical development, education, health, pulling people out of poverty. And we are discussing 2027. Elections are won, elections are lost by the vote of the people. all these things you're talking and all these things people are talking is because we're not democratic. Charles, we are talking of working together for the sake of the country, not because of political posts. I've said it before.
But if you don't have political power, you won't be able to change the country.
Charles, agree with that. That's why I've always said, I'm not desperate to be president. I'm desperate to see Nigeria work. Charles, it is all these alliances, all these groupings that brought us to where we are today. Because people were blinded. Instead of seeing what they would do to make the country work, make the country productive, they were focused on wrestling power. What are we going to use the power to do?
You listen to Peter Obi speak on this video. Peter Obi, don't take it away from him. Peter Obi is that person. When they told you about him, is that person, maybe you will believe. If APC told you something about him, maybe you will believe. But when you come close to him, listen to him speak, analyze issues to you, you will believe him more and disagree with people telling you about him. You will be asking yourself questions. Is it the person they are telling you about, this person? No. You need to come close, listen to him, listen more, and talk less when he's talking so you learn. You see this analysis he dropped, he told you, now he analyzed issues to you. It's not a rocket science. It is practicable, it is doable. It has been done many times. People have done it before. In Nigeria, it can happen. It's because we've never had that leaders who is going to do all those things, implement it, who is going to be focused, head up, say, we want to do this. We don't have that person. Do you understand? You see reasons why it is very difficult for Tinubu to attract foreign investors to invest in this country, despite the level of traveling here and there, convincing investors to come to invest in this country. It's difficult for them because there is no rule of law. There is no law and order. No country will ever work when there is no law, when there is no laws, orders are working. Nobody is ready to throw money away. This is not the time to do try and error. Let me try. If it didn't work, fine. Your money is gone. Not this time. Those foreigners are very conscious of their money. They don't do try and error like us. They need to see reasons to do this, to do XYZ. Those foreigners, not Nigeria, say anything goes, anything happens. In Oibo land, they believe in laws are working. Reasons why I should do this. They believe in paperwork, all those things. If I invest, what happens to my money? Can I be able to do this? If this happens, can government come to your rescue? Can you be compensated? All those things. Law is very important. Now, Tinubu have used 2 years to scatter Nigerians. That is to say, it is also possible for somebody to use 2 years to fix a lot of things in this same country we are today. Start from rule of law. The wastage in government is 2 months. That's where you start from. A leader who is truthful, serious, that's where you start from. Do you understand? You cannot ask people to be feasting while you are enjoying life. It's not working. A lot of, now you want to build one party system in Nigeria. It's not going to work. Nigeria is so divided. Nigeria is so big, so not even big safe. It's so divided because in China, they practice one party system. Chinese people, their law are very strong. They make this clear to you. If you commit this offense, China can jail you for life. China can sentence you to death for committing an offense, for stealing public money. But Nigeria, we are not ready to do all those things. So why are you practicing one democracy, one party system? It's not going to work. And now gradually Tinubu wants to do that. And now everybody wants to go in that direction. No country in the world will practice one party system if you are not ready to jail somebody for life, if you are not ready to buy the person for stealing public interest. These laws are clear. It is written constitutionally. This is what we are doing. This is our blueprint. The reasons why we are practicing one party system. This is it. Go through it. So if you can, fine. But the president himself is corrupt. Everything about him, people around him, they are corrupt. And you are building one party system. You are not ready to sentence anybody to jail. You are not ready to even get somebody arrested for stealing public money. You are only there. EFCC is not doing anything for high profile people. EFCC cannot do anything. It's only all those small boys on the street hustling. That's where EFCC focus on. So we cannot do it. We need law. Let somebody who knows this rule of laws, who is ready to abide. You start from the leadership. If your leader can do it, just for example, in organization where you work, there is a leader in that organization. right? What your leader is not doing in that organization, you need to first of all understand your leader in that organization, that he or she does not tolerate nonsense. He can't, if you do this, he can't take it to, for this little thing you did, this person you can get fired for doing this. So your leader, your manager is very strict. Don't play with him, don't joke with him. He's very serious with his work. Your members under him, you guys know him. You might be gossiping him outside the work, but when it comes to that work, you have to behave normal according to the law set out for you to follow. When you go against that, you get fired. That's law is working. Not Nigeria. Everything, we're so divided. The laws are broken. Under Tinubu, laws are broken. Nothing is working. You want to attract foreign investors. You want to build one party system. You want Nigerians to be happy with you when you are feasting, and you want others to things like that. It's not working. Now, listen to Peter Obi analysis. This is economics. Somebody who has successfully built business from the scratch. He knows what it is to build business to that level. He knows what it is. He lives in abroad. He understands rule of law. That's why he can consider and tell you, go and look for another person to tell you what Peter Obi is telling you. Everything you listen to Peter Obi say free of charge. This is something when you go for an event, you have to pay money. Business strategies, you have to pay money to learn these strategies that Peter Obi is dishing out free of charge. If you don't like, you don't want to, you cannot hate him for being nice, for being good, for being truthful. You cannot hate him. You can say because Nigerian, the level of corruption in this country, Peter Obi is different from others. He's not going to be the president because we don't want this country to be feast. Simple. But for other things, don't take it away from him. You cannot see another person like Peter Obi. He is number one. He's number one. He's the one. There's no counterfeit. Any other one is counterfeit. Please share this video. And please, I'll be your guy. Subscribe to this YouTube channel now.